What's up, everybody? I'm Wyatt Bagnall.
Taylor Wallerstein.
Thanks so much for tuning back in. Today, we are doing another tier list. We are ranking the quarterbacks. And before we do that, hit that like button, hit subscribe. If you like what we say, if you don't like what we say, leave us a comment, let us know. Love to hear what you think. If you know any other sports fans, share this video. We would love to grow this community. And without further ado, we will bounce into the quarterback tier rankings.
Let's do it.
So a little preface. The way that I'm doing this is sort of like who this team's ideal starter would be on their roster. Like for Kyler Murray is not going to start the year for the Cardinals, but he's the quarterback I have on here for the Cardinals.
Right.
Because he is really their dude that they would be making decisions around.
Right.
So I'm going with that assumption. Some of the rookies I have on here, I have them because I assume they'll start. I don't know for sure, but I'm just going with like who's the quarterback that's on their roster that they are currently making the decisions based around.
That's fair. And what are the tiers?
So I've got blue chip at the very top.
Okay.
Franchise guys right below that.
Sure.
Guys who can win situationally. Guys who are in a make or break year. Guys where it's too soon to tell, and then guys that we know that they need to be replaced.
Okay. Yeah, I think that works perfectly.
Yeah, I might have one too many tiers in here, but we'll see. Okay, so up first is Justin Fields. I think he's firmly in the make or break thing.
Yeah, I think that's fair. He's either going to prove it or not.
Yeah, this is the year.
Yeah.
He might be the most make or break on this list.
Absolutely. Not according to the top 100 list, but sure, whatever.
No, but we'll get to that. But realistically, the Bears this is a big year.
Yes.
Up next is Jalen Hurts. I would put him in franchise. I think he's above winning situationally. He's not blue chip. I think blue chip are the guys where it's like, no doubt at all, we've seen 2 to 3 years from them that they are what they are.
Greatness, yeah.
Jalen Hurts had a really great year. If he does it again, and if he does it for 2 more years, he's a blue chip quarterback. But right now, he's the type of dude where the Eagles should feel comfortable that they can build their franchise around him. And how great he is, how high he can carry them by himself, who knows? But he's definitely a dude that you can rely on to play quarterback.
Yeah, I think he belongs in the franchise tier. You could make the argument that his team is definitely benefiting him with how loaded that entire Eagles offense is and the game plan being around him running a lot. Even if he gave me 2 to 3 more years, I don't know if I'd be willing to call him a blue chip until I see him in a Mahomes-level situation.
You'd have to see him. The blue chip guys. The blue chip guys are the guys who've elevated.
Exactly.
It's just like with the coaches.
Yep.
If you're somebody that you cover the flaws and you still make them strong, you're blue chip.
Yeah, and I don't know if I can put him there yet, but I'm sure give him a couple years and some contracts and some people have to go and
we'll see.
If he has to be in a position where he does elevate, and he does elevate,
blue chip.
Then blue chip. Easy.
Yep, he's a dude that highly capable of it. Well, this is a matter of time.
Yeah.
And if he he just has to check certain boxes.
Yeah, I refuse to call him blue chip now, but I do think it is possible that he proves he is one of those guys.
All right, up next, Geno Smith. I think that I don't want to say he needs replacement coming off what he did.
He does, by his backup.
Yeah. I think that he goes into one of 2 spots. He's either make or break also, or he's in the too soon thing. As weird as it is, I feel more
win situationally. I think we know who we have in him.
I think I would consider win situationally, but I do think that if he has a bad year, Seattle structured that contract in a way where they can get out of it in a year.
Right.
So I think that he's in. His situation is much less stable than if we just have a good team, he's our guy.
That's fair.
So I kind of think he's in if he has another good year, he's in that group.
Okay.
Where if the team's good, but if he has a bad year, Seattle can get off him in a year.
That's true.
So I think this is I
do think he has one of those, to be honest with you. He has a bad year coming out.
Yeah, so I think that this is a year where even Seattle didn't expect what happened, and they don't know if it's sustainable, which is why they gave him a contract where it's like, we can get out of this.
Right.
So, and I have to credit their front office. I think he's make or break also.
True. You bring up a good point. Credit the Seattle front office. They do know what they're doing.
They did what the Giants should have freaking done.
That's fair.
Granted, the Giants should have franchise tagged him, but the concept of a dude has one great year
And pay him.
Don't go crazy.
60 for 4. Yeah.
that contract looks bigger than it is. Seattle has an out in there.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think that's a good point. They're in a position where this is a less stable situation I think he can win situationally with the team he's on now. I don't know if that's the case if he's with the Texans.
It's not. That's why I think it's make or break, because I think
that's
that
fair.
he's bad. Seattle will move off him next offseason.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
All right. Up next is Ryan Tannehill. This is a weird one. This is a weird one because I don't think he's bad. He's not great, but he might be a situationally guy.
I think he is a situational guy because he's very serviceable.
My only other thing was is he in the needs replacement thing because they keep trying to replace him? But I think that what he actually is wins situationally, and the Titans situation just isn't quite ready to win to the level.
Yeah.
But
I think the win situationally category sounds a lot like the bridge quarterback situation.
yeah, I think that's kind of what it is.
And I think that's what Tannehill is.
Yeah.
He's a guy. He's almost like the Joe Flacco level. It's like we don't really have a
think he's
reason to
better than Joe
replace.
Flacco.
I agree that he is better than Joe Flacco. with
Maybe
the
not
exception-
postseason Joe Flacco.
Yeah, I was gonna
or
say-
regular season Joe Flacco.
I was gonna say 2012
Yeah.
postseason Joe Flacco is next level, and I don't want that to be forgotten in this conversation. But
Yeah.
Joe Flacco is very mid in his career, and I think Tannehill brings a little bit more than that. He's definitely a good quarterback.
Yeah.
He's not a guy that if he's especially now at the age he's at as he gets older, he's not somebody who's like, okay, we have our franchise guy.
Great in the mentor role.
He's-
I think he's going to be somebody that, almost like Matt Hasselbeck did, played a long time in Seattle, was pretty good, but at the end of his career, he was like that mentor type quarterback
Right.
on a couple teams. I could see that being Tannehill's role.
He's a good quarterback. He's got a great mind. He's going to be in the league for as long as he really wants to be because somebody will pay
Plus,
him.
he's handled other quarterbacks coming into that building well.
Yeah, and I think even bringing in Will Levis after bringing in Malik Willis, you're almost not even in a position where they need to start anytime soon. If either or ends up becoming their franchise, which I'm leaning it's going to be Will Levis. They wouldn't have drafted a guy round 2 if it wasn't a situational need that they were like, okay, this guy isn't working for us.
Yeah.
But I love the guy, and it's no knock on him. He's done great with his bounce around career after Miami, where it looked like the dude was
Not even
total
bounce around. He
bust.
switched once and just landed better. Yeah.
Yeah, so credit where credit's due. He's definitely a quality quarterback, and this win situationally category is not, in my mind, a terrible category to be in.
No, it's what it means is you're not the straw that stirs the drink.
Right.
You're not the tide that raises all boats.
Right.
But you're not the thing that's gonna sink this ship most likely.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're a good captain to have.
Yeah,
So.
you're a steady hand.
Yep.
Just don't color outside the lines, and we'll be okay.
Yeah. No, I think that's exactly where he belongs. He's gonna and then if Will Levis ends up being the guy after this year, they could easily trade him for like a 4th, 5th round pick or something.
I wouldn't be shocked if they just want to keep him. But we'll see. All right, up
I
next,
wouldn't be either. Yeah.
Josh Allen,
Blue chip.
blue chip.
Yeah.
Not much debate there.
No, the guy's a blue
I mean,
chip
you
running
want to
back
talk
too.
about we talk about elevating things.
Oh yeah.
Josh Allen might be asked to elevate the most of the guys that are going to be in this category.
Agreed.
And he does it damn well.
Yeah, absolutely.
They catch a lot of shit for how that year ended, yada yada yada.
Sure.
Whatever. The dude elevates like a motherfucker.
Absolutely.
He is their run game. He is their pass game.
Yep.
He's damn near impossible to freaking tackle.
Oh yeah.
Like
He's an animal.
he's blue chip all the way around. No debate there.
No debate at all.
All right. Up
Big
next.
Yash fan.
Up
Big
next. Big what?
Big Yashi fan.
Yashi. Yeah. All right. Up next is Jimmy Garoppolo. He is the epitome of win situationally.
Yeah.
Like the epitome of it. Everybody gets on this whole thing. Look at Jimmy's record. He's just a winner. He was drafted to the dynastic Patriots,
Yeah, right.
and then the Shanahan 49ers.
Yeah, it's real hard to
The
lose
dude
there.
did not have a tough go of it.
As long as you're not injured, you're winning games for those organizations.
Pretty much, that's exactly how it was.
Yeah.
We'll see and I think we'll see the situationally thing
Yep.
really apply itself in Las Vegas.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I think he's the epitome of bridge quarterback. Wins when we're good, not good when we're bad.
And we'll find a
And we'll
quarterback
probably get
to
hurt.
replace him eventually.
Yeah.
When we need to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the dudes in the win situationally thing, these are the guys that you're probably looking to replace, but you have to be pretty certain that what you're getting is better, or
Right.
you'll set yourself back.
Exactly.
Up next is Jordan Love. Too soon.
Yeah, it's too soon. Let the guy play a little bit. Look, obviously he's going to get his chance this year now that Aaron Rodgers is gone.
Yep.
But Aaron Rodgers didn't even look good with his offense, and there really isn't a lot different from this year to last. So it'll be interesting to see how he handles it. You'll get a good tell on who Jordan Love is very quickly this year, I believe.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, the too soon category sort of explains itself.
Yeah. It's like,
and speaking of the too soon category, there's another guy in there, Bryce Young. It's too soon.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how this Panthers team looks with him.
Yeah.
We're all going to be watching him with interest, but yeah, if you're already calling him a bust,
exactly.
bro, like, come on.
We can all have high hopes. We can all have our expectations of what we think will happen.
Right.
But to actually speak at all as to what he is as an NFL quarterback is awesome.
No one knows exactly.
Daniel Jones. This is a weird one because the answer should be make or break, but they fucking paid his ass.
I think it's still make or break despite the contract.
The difference is they didn't give themselves that out.
No, that's just a classic Giants contract, and it's not even Gettleman in the office, so I don't get it. Like,
Joe Shane found himself in a very peculiar position. Again, I think this is what happens when you're not expecting a player to do something and he does it. You don't really want him, but your fan base will freak out if after
don't have an answer.
If for like the first time in years you made the playoffs and then you let guys leave.
Yeah.
Even though it's probably the right thing to do.
It's a tough situation.
I mean,
I don't envy the guy, but personally,
whatever.
and we can talk about the contract pretty much all day. I mean, it's controversial for a reason.
So you want to put him in make or break?
I think he belongs.
I think as a player he's make or break,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I'm cool putting him there.
Exactly.
Situationally, they just mishandled it.
Yeah, I'm taking the contract situation out of this, and because it's not necessarily his fault. He hired a good agent, so good on him.
Unfortunately.
Agent did exactly what he was supposed to do and got a fat payday from it, and so did Daniel Jones. That's the front office's
Now they
issue.
can enjoy watching teams in January.
Yeah, I don't see them making the playoffs again this year, but
No.
Daniel Jones, if he ends up playing well this year, despite not making playoffs, he's made it. So I will at least give him that. He did have a good year last year. He had his best year in his career statistically.
Yep.
If he can match the kind of energy in the numbers again, I mean, even if it's a little bit worse this year, but he still played efficiently and wasn't the reason his team was losing games, then I think you've got at least a franchise guy for the time being. But
Fair enough.
We'll have to see.
All right, up next is Lamar Jackson. I think he's in that franchise tier with Jalen Hurts.
I agree. I don't. Some people would say blue chip, but I really don't. And I guess, but
The blue chip tier is where things like you missing time consistently comes into play.
Agreed.
If he's a healthy player, he could potentially be in that group. But we've now seen 2 years now where he's missed the end of the season,
Right.
and his team has suffered mightily for it.
Right.
Part of being a blue chip player is being a dependable player.
Right.
I get injuries happen, and it can happen to anybody at any time. It can happen to any of the dudes that are going to be in that blue chip tier.
Right.
But when it happens twice in 2 years, around the same time, and the same type of thing,
And it almost, I mean, I don't know. I don't know the credibility of reports, but it does seem like he could have been back this year.
yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
All I know is the situation there got weird enough with the injury thing that he's not in the blue chip tier right now. He could get into the blue chip tier faster than Jalen Hurts to me, though.
Yeah, I agree. He's been around long enough. The MVP certainly helps. The unanimous MVP. He did have a crazy monster season.
Yeah, it's in him.
Yeah, who knows if we'll see it again with the injuries and everything. And personally, I think his arm talent leaves a lot to be desired. So, yeah, I'd have to say franchise is a good spot for him. He does seem like he would be a blue chip guy, but when your team is still making the playoffs with their backup in, that's definitely a knock against the guy.
All right, let's do Deshaun Watson next. This is make or break like a son of a bitch.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I would love to talk shit. and I'm excited to talk shit because I think I'm going to be able to this season.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is prove that you're the guy that they gave that contract to.
Yeah.
Year.
I mean, like we said with the Daniel Jones thing, contractually, this isn't make or break because they can't get out of this now.
Right.
But in terms of the perception of him as a player, this year's very important.
Absolutely. Agreed.
Up next, your boy Joey Burrow. He's going up to the blue chip tier.
I could not agree more. I am a big fan of Joe Burrow.
Old Joey B.
Joey B. He's the man. He's very clearly elevated. He's got some talent on that roster.
I would argue that the only traditional box he hasn't checked for the blue chip thing is the elevating thing, but he also
was the most sacked.
You also just don't tend to like. He's done enough where, and he's done it for. And if he'd only done it, if this was last offseason, I'd say franchise.
Sure.
But he did it again. So I would put him in the blue chip tier.
I think that's...
Like, he hasn't checked the elevate box, and I think in the next 2 years he's going to have to.
Right.
Because after he's paid, they are going to lose guys.
Absolutely.
And we're going to see the holes he covers up.
Yeah, I think...
But other than that, he's done a damn good job.
Got to give the guy credit, especially, in an Andrew Luck situation with the O-line, and was able to do what Andrew Luck wasn't able to do. That's... honestly incredible. That's the only.
I think Andrew Luck's situation is worse than Joe Burrow's. They never did a damn thing to help him.
And that's fair. At least the Bengals have been going out of their way to try and get that O-line fixed, and I think
the Andrew Luck situation is one of the all-time tragedies of the NFL.
Oh, I agree.
Like, they never got him great receivers. They drafted T.Y. Hilton his rookie year. He was a really good player, but other than that, didn't do much for him. That O-line was always garbage.
Right.
That dude. That's the epitome of got no help.
That's fair.
All right.
100%.
But yeah, Joe Burrow's a pretty... Like, the blue chip guys, there's not a ton of elaboration to be had because they're obvious. So
they pass the eye test.
Yeah.
You don't have
We
to...
know what they are.
Yeah. If you're one of those people who's out there saying Joe Burrow is benefiting from the talent around him, go fuck yourself.
I mean, that's not the worst argument in the world, but it's also... It doesn't stop him from... It doesn't stop us from knowing what it is. Like, we know what he is, but you could make the argument of, like, yeah, the dude's got to, like, they built a good team for him. Fine. That's good work by them. Part of, like, being a good team means you got to have more than just that dude pulling his weight. But, so that's a credit to the Bengals. But, like I said, I think that we're going to see that. We're going to see how well he elevates being put to the test in the next couple of years.
Sure.
But while you're on a rookie contract, it's way
rookie.
Easier to not have to if you're with, like, a halfway smart organization.
Right.
C.J. Stroud, too soon.
Yeah. Again, if you're rooting for this guy to fail, if you're rooting for him to succeed, either way, we just don't know.
Tua Tagovailoa.
Make or break.
Yeah.
Make or break.
And it's a health one.
Yeah, it's health.
Which is nasty.
It's health. Dude, our team's going to be able to figure him out, in my opinion.
I don't think it has anything to do with figuring him out. I think the only way that... Because here's why. I don't think figuring out Tua means a damn thing to the league. Because their team is running a system that if you are just, like, competent, it's going to work.
Well,
the bigger question is, can teams figure out Mike McDaniel, not Tua?
And that's where I am on the opposite, actually. I'm like, I feel as if Mike McDaniel will be harder to figure out, but there are...
That's why it's a problem.
Yeah, but there are certain things that, too... Like, in my opinion, and granted I'm, against the guy a little bit, I just don't like him. I think he's the guy who does have that ability to sink the ship that Mike McDaniel is captaining.
No, it's fair. My only argument for the whole thing is that, like, we see this system is in several locations in the NFL. All, like, the three most prominent spots where it exists is San Fran, the Rams, and the Dolphins.
Sure.
All three of those offenses are really good when they're healthy.
Right.
This really is a matter of you have to figure out how to slow down whatever it is that they're doing.
Sure.
And not focus so much on the quarterback. There's a huge reason why a lot of the guys that run those systems, like Jared Goff goes from bust to the Super Bowl. Jimmy Garoppolo goes to a Super Bowl and 3 NFC Championship games. Like, Tua's, like, in the Dolphins offense, lights out until he goes down. Mm. And it really is, like, you got to get some grasp of how they're trying to attack you rather than the dude throwing the ball, because they They want the guy throwing the ball to be more of like a pure like point guard type.
Mm-hmm.
Just put it where it's supposed to be, distribute it, read it. That's it. You don't need to do anything crazy.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
That's why, I mean, listen, if Tua's not going to succeed in this offense, in this situation with those weapons, he's not going to succeed. So,
well, that's
why he's make or break.
But yeah, he's definitely make or break. Can he prove that he can stay healthy? Can he elevate around this team as well and be a guy?
Yeah.
We will have to see, but
all right,
I have my doubts.
Up next is Brock Purdy. I'm going to put him in the too soon thing because we haven't, as much as he played really well, he did all that. The dude played like 8 or 9 games, and we'll just have to. It's just like we've seen more of him than we've seen of Jordan Love, Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud. It's half a season. It's not big enough to make a true assessment of him.
I agree, and especially with the injury, it's really.
I'm going to put him at the very top of the too soon thing because I think there's like
he has more game tape.
If he comes out in like the first 5 games and looks good, I would immediately bump him to that situational group.
Okay, I think I think that's fair. He's got good tape so far. It's not a full season.
Yeah.
Who knows? And you know, credit where credit's due. This could be the same kind of same thing with Tua. Same thing with Tua of, you know, is this guy benefiting from an incredible offensive mind of a head coach and a great system around him and a great team?
Definitely is.
And that, which of course he is. I mean, there's no denying that.
Anybody in that situation benefits from it.
And if you don't, then you have no place in the league.
Yeah, if you, bro.
Yeah, like you're not even a backup. But that being said, to knock Tua, will keep realistic expectations with Brock Purdy. However, I do like Brock.
Mm-hmm.
Great game tape that he had. Bummer of how, obviously, no shit, of how the championship.
It's a bummer.
No shit.
Even people who don't like the 49ers are sort of like, man.
It's like watching a horse with a broken leg.
Yeah, it's just like
you're just kind of like,
come on.
Yeah, it's like just sit down, man. Like, take it easy.
Even people who wanted to watch the 49ers lose would have really rather watched them get beat rather than the way it actually
Josh Johnson went in or whoever.
Yeah, he was out by halftime with a concussion after he fumbled a snap that was in his chest.
Right where it needed to
be. Yeah, it wasn't great.
Yeah, but it's fine. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, especially now that I saw in training camp he's throwing the ball. So we'll have to see where the Niners go with quarterback. I think that's one of the more interesting stories.
They've already said if he's healthy, he starts.
Perfect. Then we will hopefully get to see if Brock Purdy is able to bounce back from a serious injury and crush it all over again.
And gets to start week 1 in Pittsburgh. So TJ Watt,
stay
away.
You'll learn very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. Up next is Matthew Stafford. I would say talent-wise, he's franchise, and I think I'm willing to put him in that group. I don't want to really use the context of, like, think he's going to retire.
Right.
But, I don't know. I'm kind of willing for, like, a career and what he's done at this point. I'm willing to put him in that franchise group, maybe the bottom of it.
I think he belongs in the franchise group. What he did for the Lions for so long, they never needed a quarterback, and they were not terrible because of him.
That situation is why he's not blue chip, because he never was able to quite elevate the Lions, other than, like, a wild card appearance 2 or 3 times.
Right. So he's definitely a franchise guy. Like, if you have him, you're set for his entire career.
He's not your problem.
Right.
Yeah,
but it is a shame it took the Rams to get him anywhere near success, let alone a ring. But that's neither here nor there.
Yep. Up next is Mac Jones. I think this is also make or break, but I think realistically, where he as a player is that situational group.
I want to give him situational.
Like I feel it's situational because, for example, take the 2 years that we've seen him, the situations were actually very different, even though it's the same team, same a lot of things.
Right.
When he had, like, a real offensive coordinator, looked fine. They got to the playoffs, and then he didn't, and the whole thing was a big joke on offense, and it didn't go well. I think he's a situational guy, even though I think his situation that he's currently in is, like... I think New England is like make or break with him this year.
Yeah.
But I think what he is a situational winner.
Yeah, I think his talent as a quarterback, I think he's a Ryan Tannehill, not as talented or not as accomplished, but a Ryan Tannehill level guy. This is a guy you could probably have for a long time. If you've got other pieces around him, you're probably going to do well. Maybe he can get over the hump on a good year.
Yeah.
personally, yeah, I like Mac Jones. I think he's a fine quarterback. I don't think he's anything super special. I think he's got a good brain in between his ears.
He's got a great brain. Everybody, that's
he's
one
accurate.
thing he lauds.
Yeah, and he's very accurate. He's got some wide receivers who have butterfingers for actual fingers. So to be completely honest, I don't want to be too harsh on the guy. I agree with you that I think New England is on that make or break year. Like if they have a shitty year, they could easily just go get a different quarterback and trade Mac Jones for for.
He'd be
capital.
somebody that I wouldn't be shocked at all if, say, things don't go great with Brock Purdy this year or with Mac Jones. I wouldn't be shocked if San Fran tried to get him. So he's the exact type of thing. Like there's a reason. There were rumors that they were going to draft him that whole time.
I know. That's the funniest part about it.
It is what it is. I don't mind
getting him.
I don't mind when teams swing for higher potential.
Sure.
I also think that if Mac Jones was on the 49ers, that is a huge problem for people.
Yeah.
Because he has not been hurt very often, or when he has, he's out like a game with like a weird tweak to his knee or something.
Came back and looked fine.
And I wouldn't be shocked at all if he's that type of thing. Up next is Kenny Pickett. I think he's also too soon because I think a lot of the dudes after the first year it's still too soon.
Yeah.
I think 2 years in is where you start to get the sense of them.
2 to 3, for sure. I think it's a little bit too soon for him to. Granted, we will get a good tell on this guy.
We'll see.
The Steelers got a better O-line this year. George Pickens going into year 2 could be a legit wide receiver
tearing up
one
training
for them
camp from the look of it
so far. And go Dogs.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I think he has a good opportunity to prove himself this year. But it is currently too soon to make a decision on this guy.
All right. Up next, Trevor Lawrence, franchise. Yeah, not blue chip yet, but he could be.
Very well could be. We'll see what he does. Maybe he elevates the team this year even further, and we start having that.
He's in the situation where he'll tick that box before some of the other guys because the Jags just started from so much lower.
Right. Last year his wide receivers were Christian Kirk, and granted Christian Kirk's a fine wide receiver, but he's not a wide receiver one by any means. It'll be interesting to see how apparently Calvin Ridley does look good, but we'll see. It's a Deshaun Watson situation as well. 2 years without playing. Can he come back and be the guy?
I think wide receiver is a little easier.
Yeah, I agree. It's not quarterback, but it'll be interesting to see. I genuinely believe that Trevor Lawrence has the potential to be a blue chip quarterback. We will just find out after this year, and if they can go back-to-back playoffs, that'll be the first time since they did it 4 years consecutively back in the 90s.
When their franchise started, they looked great, and then it's
just been
went downhill.
Awful, but hey, he seems like he can be Jacksonville's savior, so
we'll see.
I've got faith in him, but he's definitely franchise caliber.
All right, Sam Howell, too soon.
He played one game.
We haven't seen anything from him.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott, I think it's situationally because even though you might not like him, the Cowboys have never been bad. Like they've always been relevant. They're not like Super Bowl favorites or anything like that. But when the team's good, they win.
I honestly thought you were going to put him in franchise.
No,
I was going to have to argue.
No, he's not one of those dudes. But I think he's I'd say he's better than Jimmy Garoppolo and Ryan Tannehill.
I think he's a little bit more volatile.
Yeah, sure. I would rather have him than those two. But I think he's firmly he's the higher end of the situational guys, where every once in a while he can show up and elevate a game.
Sure.
And he's usually just fine. He does his thing when the O line
collapses, but beyond that.
But that's the thing about those dudes in the middle tier.
Yeah.
When other things aren't going great around them, they're not the thing that fixes it.
Right.
So I'd say Dak is one of the situational guys.
I would agree. I thought I was going to have to argue for that position, but I'll take it. I'll take what I can get.
I already know where you're going to want to put this guy. Russell Wilson.
Bust.
You just want to
make a new one.
Needs
replacement.
There's a low tier. It says needs replacement.
Yeah, I need one below that.
I would say he's make or break.
Yeah, I'd say it's a make or break. Was last year realistically was last year just a fluke? Can he return?
We've never seen that from him before.
Right.
Anytime it's
nowhere.
Anytime it's the first time it happened, the next year is hugely important.
Yep.
If he does the same thing, it needs replacement.
Absolutely.
But I'd say this year it's you can fix this, but boy,
yeah. You have a lot to fix. So, yeah, I think make or break is absolutely where he belongs, and this is a good Denver team like it was last year. Now it's actually got a competent...
Now it's got a real coach.
It's got a blue-chip head coach.
It's got an offensive coach that is known like unanimously as elite offensive mind.
Yep. So if you can't make it work now, it is rough going for the rest of your career. I know which way I want it to go, but that being said, I do think it's make or break as well.
Fair enough. Kyler Murray. This is such an interesting one.
I'm going make or break.
That's kind of where I'm leaning.
I'm going make or break because I'm not going to say situationally.
At the same time, I kind of do. Here, allow me to give my one thing for the situationally thing.
Sure.
Because there was a time when he was thought like, okay, Cardinals found a franchise guy.
They paid him like he is.
Yeah. I would argue that he helped turn around a franchise also that, like, he got them to the play. Obviously, it all went to hell this year.
Right.
But for the first 3 years, it was up, and everything was looking really good about him. And then the contract negotiation starts, and all of a sudden people start finding stuff out about him.
Right.
I don't think he is so much a make or break quarterback as if the Cardinals are awful, they might try to replace him for the money of it.
Sure.
But I think as a quarterback, if you're good and you have him, you'll be good.
Yeah.
Like if the biggest risk is he could get hurt because he's not that big, yada yada yada, and he runs. But he's never done anything on a football field. Say what you will about him off the football field and how hard he works and all that type of stuff. But this is about how he plays. He's never been the weakness of the Cardinals.
He's had a couple anti-clutch moments.
Okay, cool. I'm not saying he's a franchise guy.
For sure.
But he's also had a couple moments where he has been clutch.
Sure.
And he took a team that's a habitual bottom feeder, and like they were on the ascent for 3 years, and then then the bottom fell out.
Right.
And that's not all on him. Part of it was he got hurt real early in the year, came back fast, got hurt again. Like, I would argue that as a quarterback, if you have a good team, you'll be good if you have him. But he maybe isn't like... He's not like Lamar, Trevor Lawrence, something like that.
Right.
But I would put him definitively above like Daniel Jones, Geno Smith, guys like that. I think he's a dude where if you got him and your team is fine, he's not going to be the thing that ruins you.
You know, I need to see more, especially post-injury like this. All right, now his explosiveness and his running is no longer going to be as potent. Granted, say what you will, maybe he comes back and looks great post-injury. It's possible. I'm not going to take that away from him. I'm not going to tell him his best days are behind him. But personally, in this situation, I think with the Cardinals and with how he plays and the contract, and I'm putting all of it on the table. I'm having the full conversation, the full meal with this guy. I'm saying make or break specifically because this guy needs to prove that he is at least a guy who can stick around for this team. Because this is a guy.
I think that the Cardinals are going to replace him because I think they're just going to be awful.
Yeah.
Or they're going to get a huge draft haul. But here might be my last closing remark on this.
Okay.
If you were to say all these guys are in make or break, say they all break this year, doesn't go their way for any of them, including Kyler Murray.
Sure.
I think out of Kyler Murray, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, Daniel Jones, Geno Smith, Deshaun Watson, and Tua Tagovailoa, the first one of them that gets a job and gets picked up would be Kyler Murray or Justin Fields.
Yeah, I think there's potential in this kid. There's athletic potential. Of course, that's why he got drafted first overall. I just think this is one where we see this happen in the positive direction all the time. I think the negative hype train got ahead of what actually has happened with the Cardinals. Sure.
And the perspective, and we talk about recency bias and things like that. For 3 years, there was really good evidence that he was not a bad player.
Yeah.
That would be my biggest thing, is I think that we sort of got like swept away in a hurricane of like negative stories really surrounding one clause in his contract, and then the fact that the Cardinals just didn't have a good year. And that'd be my one thing about it, is I just think that he's a cut above the dudes that we've clumped into that tier. because I don't think he has as much to prove. He's proved the high end already, and he's proved that his low end is that he gets hurt. And that'd be my only thing that I think distinguishes him.
Well, I think that's why we have Tua
But Tua's never shown what Kyler's shown.
True, but Tua also has had less time in the league.
Yeah, and he's also been hurt more.
Well, yeah.
Like, I think the difference between Tua and Kyler is that Kyler has shown... Like, when Kyler's been healthy, he's got some great moments. When Tua's been healthy, his great moments are...
His best moments are DeAndre Hopkins being a monster.
Yeah,
and
the Hail Murray, as it's called.
Which, I mean, this is partially why...
You're like, God damn it!
It's partially why I hate the guy. Like, the guy just has such a fucking big head, and he doesn't even fucking hit 5'9" on a fucking
I don't think he named
ruler.
I don't think he named that play.
He did. He trademarked it.
Did he come up with the name of the play?
Yeah,
or did he just trademark it after somebody else said it?
No, he trademarked Hail Murray.
Yeah, you could trademark something once it's out there.
I don't give a shit. That's fucking stupid. I think he did name the play based on, I could become wrong and made my decision.
It's fine. Either way, frankly, I don't want to talk about Kyler Murray anymore.
That's fair. But I personally am going to die on the hill that I think he's make or break.
All right.
Strictly, and I think he's made it. I think he has an easier chance to make it than some of these other guys.
All right, fair enough.
But I do need to see. All right, come back from this injury.
I am willing to concede that, but I'm putting him at the tippy top of that tier because I think all it takes for him to make it is he comes back and just looks how he was.
Yeah, and I agree. I think if he's able, I think he's got a better chance to make it compared to some of these other guys.
All right, up next, Anthony Richardson. Too soon.
Too soon, yeah. Again, it'll be interesting to see, but
yeah,
we'll follow up later.
Baker Mayfield. I would say this is one that needs replacement. Tampa Bay needs a different quarterback situation.
I think they brought him in specifically because
to be replaced.
To be replaced, yeah. So and it sucks because I've always been a Baker guy. I do like the chip on the shoulder mentality.
Yep.
I do think that the Browns totally screwed the guy, and but also
he screwed himself too.
Accountability needs to be taken of. You shouldn't have played with a shoulder injury on your throwing arm.
No,
that's rule numero uno.
In a contract year, bro.
In a contract year, like I understand, like you could have been franchise tagged, man.
So that's not bad money.
That's not bad money, especially for quarterbacks. So I do think it's a little bit self-inflicted. He wanted to prove himself a little bit too much, and that while that's noble and respectable, it cost him his career.
Big heart,
big chip on the shoulder,
clear eyes,
small
full
brain.
heart.
So I'd
say it wasn't clear-eyed is what the issue was.
Yeah, I think he's a fine backup. He's got the talent. There's a reason he went first overall, and you know if you're in a position where he's rested all year and he has to finish out one game or play one game or something like that, it's a guy who can win situationally as a backup. That being said, I don't think he's a franchise guy anymore.
No, he's not. Up next. All right, here's a layup. Up next is Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, he's blue chip. Yeah. He's the definition of elevating. He's made every wide receiver who runs through that room better.
Yeah, now he's checked every box.
And gotten them paid. He has 2 rings. He has MVPs.
Yeah, we know.
Wait, what? 2
2
MVPs?
MVPs.
Yeah, he's got 2 MVPs.
2 rings.
At this point.
He's blue chip.
He's blue chip. Like, I hate the guy, and it's not because he's successful and good. I hate the guy for lots of reasons, but...
It is what it is. This is objectively
what can I say?
Blue chip as hell.
I think our show loses credibility if I lie.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
say he's franchise. So
yeah,
I'll let it go.
Again, like we said, the blue chip guys are getting like the least analysis, but it's because everyone knows what these guys are.
Do you want me to go through 4 or 5 years of Mahomes' career and tell you
great.
why? No shit. You've watched him for 5 years. You hate him too, probably.
Yeah.
So there's a good chance that you know he's blue chip.
Exactly. If you're not living on the west side of Missouri,
right,
you probably don't love the dude. That's all right. That's how it should be.
Yep.
If most other fan bases don't like your guy, probably because they wish they had your guy.
With the exception of me, I would hate having Mahomes.
All right, fair enough. Say what you will, but I'm just saying.
Assistant quarterback Zach Taylor would not have made him who he is today.
No, Zach Taylor would not have. All right, up next is Justin Herbert. I'm gonna put I would put him the very, very top of the franchise tier.
I'm gonna put him
for one reason.
Okay.
I do need to see a deep run.
Sure.
That is literally it. It's the only thing I'm trying. Would I personally be like? Do I think he's a blue chip quarterback? Probably. But for some intellectual honesty of the criteria we've put, I think he's the very top of the franchise tier.
I'll make you a trade deal.
Okay.
I will let you have Kyler go into the situational.
If you let
tier.
me, all right.
If you let me blue chip Justin Herbert.
Happily, because I would love to blue chip Justin Herbert too.
Deal.
All right, cool. So Herbert's the bottom of the blue chip tier.
I think that's exactly where he belongs. I think he's proven enough.
And Kyler's going to be the bottom of the situational tier.
That is perfectly acceptable. I can take that all
I love
day.
the trade.
Trade offer.
Yeah.
I think
he's getting into fantasy mode, people.
I can't wait. That's a different discussion. I'll do a fantasy episode sometime with you guys. But oh my God, I love Justin Herbert so much.
Me too.
Obviously, he's just a great guy to root for. He's a fun quarterback. Some of the throws he makes are just insane.
He's wild.
He is must-watch TV. I heard a report recently that Brandon Staley is actually viewed as the worst head coach in the NFL right now, and that Justin Herbert, with a halfway decent coach,
Worst
could potentially be a Super Bowl winner right now.
Yeah, of course.
So personally,
Chargers missed a golden fucking opportunity this offseason.
Whatever. Yeah.
That's brutal.
Again, I hate that so much. The fact that it's come down to being cheap is ridiculous.
Now he's in Denver.
Shout out the fact that they at least paid the guy.
Shout out to the Walmart family for not being cheap.
Yeah, I mean, credit where credit's due, Denver. You went out and got a great head coach and to fix your quarterback.
Chargers, take fucking notes. Even though you don't got to fix your guy, you got to fix everything else.
You have to just fix everything else. But I'm big on Justin Herbert. I think he's absolutely a top 5 quarterback in the league, and not 5. I got to give him the blue chip moniker strictly because of that, and I'm fine with.
Like I said, I think he's blue chip. I just think that I was just trying to be like, for the sake of the way we'd done it. It's like
completely fair, but.
I do think he's a cut above I don't think Lawrence. I
don't think
Hurts, Lamar, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think we are projecting just a little bit for Herbert here, but I think it's deserved.
I mean, it's not even that much of a projection. The dude's talent is clearly blue chip. He's just on a team that are choke artists.
That will not let him be blue chip. Yeah.
All right. Up next is Aaron Rodgers. This is a tough one because his career, blue chip, 1,000%. He's elevated. He's done a lot of things, lots of deep playoff runs. Green Bay hasn't always given him the most help, but he still looks great. I don't know what he is right now because he's coming off one down year, sort of like Russell Wilson. Definitely not make or break year for him.
Of course.
And he's definitely not situational. He's either the very, very tippy top of franchise or, honestly, I'm cool if we still want to put him in blue chip just for overwhelming evidence.
He deserves blue chip.
So that's kind of where I'm leaning. Yeah, he's blue chip.
He deserves blue chip for sure, just because of his accomplishments. There's a reason why the Jets were willing to give everything they did to go get him, and that they feel very confident that they are where they need to be to be successful.
Still is a freaking cannon. He's
still Aaron Rodgers. He's a little bit of hobo Aaron Rodgers at this point with his and druggy
hobo Rodgers, baby.
He's Burning Man.
Aaron Rodgers on ayahuasca.
Basically.
Burning Rodgers.
Yeah, I think in the same way that we gave Matthew Stafford franchise for what he's done in his career, I think we have to do the same thing with Aaron Rodgers here.
Agreed. Okay, up next, Jared Goff. Situational also, I think.
Yep.
You could say this is make or break, but I think him as a player, we've seen him in 2 situations where as the situation improves, so does he.
I would say it's a make or break situation, but a make or break situation of he's either a bridge quarterback for the rest of his career or he's a franchise guy for the Lions.
Yeah. I think, like you said, the situation is make or break, but I think the player is actually if you're good, he'll be good.
Yeah, exactly. I think especially as the team improves, he tends to. Apparently, he's looking lights out in camp from what they're saying.
Yep, checks out. The team's good.
Yeah, makes sense. The roster got better in the offseason. Jameson Williams having a full year will also help Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yep.
They drafted Jahmyr Gibbs, which will help with the running game. Defense got more improved. Overall, he's either a bridge quarterback or he's an MVP conversation. Doesn't win it this year, but he plays well enough to be an MVP conversation and proves that he's a franchise guy for the Lions for the long haul. But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
All right. Up next is Kirk Cousins.
This is interesting.
Here is I'm gonna say he's the bottom of the franchise tier. He's not the reason they have problems. Did you ever see the graphic of his numbers and Joe Burrow's put up? There's more context needed to that, and Joe Burrow's obviously better, but it does go to the fact of, The idea that Kirk Cousins hasn't played well in some of these situations is vastly overblown if your defense gives up 30 points in those situations.
Right.
Like, he's gotten Washington to the playoffs multiple times. Minnesota's been relevant ever since he's got there. Like, you could say he wins situationally, but I would argue that his situation's never been that great, and they've still won. So I think he doesn't elevate people or, like, as far as a lot of the other dudes that you traditionally think of.
Sure.
But he does do it. And he's more consistent than people want to give the dude credit for.
Yeah.
Like, again, I'm not saying he's Joe Burrow. I'm not saying that he's Matthew Stafford even or anything like that. And he's definitely not, he's not the blue chip guys, we know. But I think the criticism lobbied at him is vastly overblown for what he's actually performed.
I think he's the most disrespected quarterback in the league. The guy has over 30,000 passing yards. The guy is very solid. Yeah, sometimes when everybody's watching, unfortunately there are some moments where he,
But guess what? Only one guy holds the trophy at the end of the year. Every single one of these dudes didn't come in clutch this year except Mahomes, like in one moment or another.
Sure. I mean, the refs did a great job this year.
Still, you know what I mean, though? Like,
I'm still bitter.
But you know what I mean? Like, sure. Has he come through and, like, won a ton of games? No. But, like, Washington was not a great franchise. Right. They got to the playoffs a couple times with him. Right. Minnesota was not doing awesome when he got there.
Yep.
And they've been relevant ever since.
Yeah.
Like, I think that if you are good at building your team, you can have him.
Let me put it this way. If Denver had hired Kyle Shanahan and paid Kirk Cousins, it's possible they have a Super Bowl ring.
A lot of people have talked about next offseason Kirk Cousins is going to be a 49er. I don't doubt that. Like I said, if Mac Jones is a player that I think they could look at, you damn well better believe Kirk Cousins is.
I think Kirk Cousins would love to end his career there too.
Yeah, so I think he's the bottom guy of the franchise tier.
He 100% belongs in franchise tier.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not arguing.
All right, cool. Up next, Desmond Ridder. It's too soon.
Yeah.
But I'm not betting on that one. But it's too soon.
I think it could be a make or break.
About that, I'm moving Kyler to I'm moving Baker to the make or break tier and removing that bottom tier because he's the only dude in it, and frankly, if he plays well, he could mess up some plans for people.
Or is there anybody else coming up that you think?
No, there's only one more quarterback.
Oh, really? Wow, we flew through those.
Yeah, there's only one more, and he wouldn't be in that tier. Okay. So I'm just getting rid of that replacement tier and saying it's make or break.
Congrats, Baker. Good luck this year.
Exactly.
We still believe in you.
Yeah, because he's not that much worse than the dudes that are in that make or break tier.
No, I don't.
He just feels like his situation is built to fail.
Exactly. It feels like they want to move on from him.
So I'm just moving him to that.
Apparently, he hasn't had a good training.
No, and I'm not expecting him to, but I would say if he plays well, he'll get another job somewhere else also.
Yeah, he's got that first round pick.
All right, last quarterback is Derek Carr. I think this is situational guy.
Is there a case for make or break?
I don't think so.
No, they paid him for 4 years.
They paid him, and I think he has less to prove than a lot of these in that tier. Derek Carr's been a pretty consistent player. Mm-hmm. Like,
yeah,
I would say like he's not a franchise guy for one simple reason. Like, the Raiders just never got off the ground. Like, granted, we put Matthew Stafford in that tier, and the Lions never really got off the ground with him either. But there's a difference in the way the two played. But I just think, like, I get the feeling that Derek Carr, if the team's good, I think he's like a stable enough guy. Like, he doesn't seem to be some crazy player that does a bunch of stupid things very consistently. He's been in a situation where his defense has never once been good.
Yeah, that's true.
And for the most part in his career, they haven't had great weapons. Like, other than Devontae Adams and Darren Waller, who the hell's he thrown the ball to?
Yeah, I can't really tell you. Jordy Nelson and his
Michael Crabtree once.
Yeah, Michael Crabtree.
Amari Cooper, and then they traded him.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he is a situational guy. He's definitely proven that. I think he is in a make or break situation of can he end up being a long-term bridge for the Saints. I wouldn't say more. I'd say can he be a bridge until they need to get a quarterback. But other than that, yeah, it's really hard to. It'll be interesting to see. This team's a lot better than what he's had over in the Raiders.
Yeah.
the NFC South is the weakest.
It's
division of
weak, yeah.
football, with the exception of
He's got a
maybe
great
the
chance
AFC
to make the
South.
playoffs.
Yeah, 100%. So, you know what? He's not a Raider anymore. I'm not in the AFC West anymore. Sure. You know what?
Derek,
Good luck, Derek.
water under the bridge for him now,
Have
Derek.
a good one, man.
Yeah. I think Derek Carr, I think the reason why I would put him firmly in that situational tier, I don't think he's ever been the problem with the Raiders.
Sure.
But the situation's never been good.
Yeah.
Except for like once or twice they'll like make
The
like a little
situation
weird
is-
run.
Yeah, it's been hard to win in that situation.
Yeah.
For anybody, and,
So-
and we'll see about Jimmy too.
Yeah, and it's like every once in a while they catch a couple good breaks, they sneak into the playoffs, and then get pretty definitively bounced. And it's just
He's
sort
a
of like,
slightly better Jimmy, but a worse looking Jimmy.
definitely more healthy. Yeah, all right.
That's true.
So that's all 32. So here's how we have them: blue chip, Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Herbert, Rodgers. Franchise guys: Lawrence, Hurts, Jackson, Stafford, Cousins. Situational: Prescott, Carr, Jones, Goff, Garoppolo, Tannehill, Kyler. Make or break year: Fields, Wilson, Jones, Smith, Watson, Tagovailoa, Mayfield. Then the guys there's too soon to tell: Purdy, Pickett, Love, Ritter, Howell, Young, Stroud, Richardson.
We have a lot of young talent in the league.
We do.
That's awesome. That's actually going to be really fun to watch this year.
We shall see.
Yeah.
And yeah, there we have it.
So if we offended you with
Good.
the quarterback's placement, cry about it more. Let us know in the comments about where you think
let's
the quarterback
predict
should
it.
be.
Let's predict it. Who are the people that are gonna be upset about where their guys ranked?
The
Eagles fans because they're dumb.
Eagles fans because they're dumb. Kyler fans, Arizona fans.
I'm not sure Arizona fans care that much.
I think they probably just want to have a franchise quarterback, so I could see them being upset by it.
Maybe.
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields, Bears
gonna-
fans won't like
Bears
it.
fans are not going to like that. We think it's a make or
Seahawks
they
fans,
feel
I
like
don't
he's
know.
made it.
I don't know if Seahawks fans will be upset. I think they're smarter than
I-
to think that that's real.
I think they know the front office very well, and
Yeah.
they know that there's a reason.
I don't like Seahawks fans, but I've never known them to be a particularly. They don't tend to jump real quick at things because they went so long of being bad. They're like they wait and see.
They waited forever for
Yeah.
Russ before.
Yeah,
they
so
started to take
I don't think
so.
Seahawks fans will be too crazy because they're not as dumb as
No,
Eagles fans.
I think Seahawks fans are at least smart enough to know Geno Smith could have just had a really good
Yeah.
year. And
I don't know.
everybody.
I think the ones we'll hear from it's like Eagles, Bears,
Oh, 100%.
maybe Cardinals if they care.
Maybe Cardinals if they like.
But Eagles
Kyler.
and Bears Eagles fans in particular love the bitch.
Cardinals
So-
fans, tell me which quarterback you'd rather have in the comments.
Yeah, exactly.
Either this upcoming year with the incoming rookies for the 2024 class, or anybody.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So thanks so much for tuning in. We're going to do a couple of fun videos coming up. You and I are gonna draft teams from all the active players, try to build our like ideal roster,
Sure.
and then we're also just because everybody loves this list every year, we're gonna go through the top 100
Absolutely.
and point out what we do agree with, what we don't agree with.
I've got-
I wonder if he has any notes.
I have a lot of rants ready for that video. It's gonna
I
be a fun
got.
one.
I don't know that I have a lot of rants particularly. I got a couple of ones where I'm like, it's just weird.
Well, that's the whole.
I got one. I only have one or two where I'm like, that's crazy.
See, for me, I have a few egregious like slights upon humanity.
It's fair.
So,
All right.
you'll definitely get the passion out of me.
So those will be fun videos coming up. Thanks so much for tuning in. Once again, hit like, hit subscribe, share the video, comment on the video. We'd really appreciate it. Thanks so much. Peace.